So the battery on my Tesla is at about 6%, and I'm an hour away from home. And I've been waiting a long time for the battery to get this low so I can make a video to show everybody how the experience of using an electric vehicle is really pretty similar to what you would do if you had a gas car, and you're not really changing things all that much. So this very rarely happens where I don't have enough energy to make it home or to make it to my destination and I need to stop to charge. It maybe happens once a year, if that. But I had just driven up from LA, and before my car had charged, I decided to drive down from San Francisco back down to San Jose. And I drove fast. It was, drove over 80 miles an hour. It's 45 degrees. So I arrived with about 6% remaining. But I wasn't bothered by it. I didn't drive slower on the highway. I still went full speed, 80 miles an hour, all the way down for an hour, because range anxiety is kind of non-existent. The charger coverage is so good that you just don't have to worry about it. And I didn't even know, where the particular chargers were near where I was going, but I knew that there's just so many in these areas that I would have no trouble. And you might say, okay, well, not every place is like California, but these things are popping up fast. It's kind of only going in one direction. So the thing that people don't really realize about EV charging is you only need to charge enough to make it to the next charger. So unlike with a gas station where you want to fully fill up the tank because you're not going to have more gas being filled at home, with an EV right now where I only have 6% remaining and I need to make it home, I really only need to charge for a short amount of time so that I can make it home, and then I'll just plug in there and complete the charge. So really the experience ends up being pretty similar to just if you had to stop to get gas occasionally. So let's see. I'm going to tell it to take me to San Francisco. Take me to the Palace of Fine Arts. There we go. So it's gone ahead and put in the destination, but it says I'll need to stop and charge for 10 minutes. And with 10 minutes, I then have enough power to make it home with 11% battery, which is about 40 miles. So if I removed all charging stops, let's see how it would be without charging stops. So without charging stops, I would get there with negative 17% on my battery. So my battery is at 6%. I need basically 23% of the battery to get from San Jose to San Francisco. So that can be accomplished with a short 10-minute charging stop. So let's go to the station, we'll plug in for 10 minutes, and then we'll continue on the rest of our way home. And of course, the car has FSD. So all I need to do to start moving is just hit this button, and we're off. And there you have it. There are the Tesla charging stations. So I didn't have to do a thing. The car took me all the way to the charging station on its own. So let's go ahead and plug in. All right, so here we are at the supercharger station. We got a few Tesla's charging here as well. So it's dead simple. You just pick up the connector. And plug it in. All right. Time to continue, 9 minutes. So just like you might spend 5-10 minutes at the gas station, if you run out of gas, you'll spend 5 to 10 minutes in an EV to get back home. So let's take a look here. The time is 1:21 a.m. and let's see what's going on at 1:30 a.m. All right, it's now 1:26 a.m. and the car has now gained enough charge to make it back to the apartment. So 1:26, let's give it a couple more minutes. It says it wants 2 more minutes before we continue the trip. Obviously, it's good to have some margin of safety, a few extra percent. So that way, if you end up using a little more energy than you need, you still make it to the next charger in time. So just like you might stop for 5 to 10 minutes to get gas, we stopped at the charger. It's now 1:27. It's saying 2 minutes left. All right, 1 minute left. All right, I now have 9% left on my battery when I return home. Again, that's about 40 miles. So huge margin of safety making it home. And at 1:29 a.m., it appears it is now done. It says calculating. That's what it usually says when it's done charging. Meanwhile, we're way over. Oh, there you go. Enough charge to continue trip. 1:29 a.m. We are done charging. Less than 10 minutes to stop. So sure enough, let's unplug. Put the charger back, and we're good to go home. So it's 2:22 a.m. and I've arrived in my garage with 18% left on the battery. So 18% is almost 40 miles on this car. So the power of that 10-minute charging session is insane. I just drove an hour, 50 miles from San Jose to San Francisco. It was fairly cold outside for California. It was 45 degrees. And the battery went from 5% to, I think, 38% or something in under 10 minutes. And I used about 20% to get home and had about 18% left over. So in 10 minutes, I basically got almost double the amount of energy I needed to get home. So essentially a 5-minute stop was all I needed to get the energy to make it home. And now that I'm home, I exit my car. And I've got my charging plug here. So we're just gonna grab that, plug it in, and I only needed to make it far enough to plug in again. I didn't need to charge to 100%. Just a 5 to 10 minute charging stop, and now I can plug in at night and I'm good to go. So you can see here, it says it's going to take 23 hours to charge. That's because I'm just plugging into standard 110 volt outlets here, essentially. So we're a lot different between that fast charger that can give me so much energy in 10 minutes and this thing that's slow. But because I'm here anyway, at my apartment, I'm gonna be sleeping upstairs and the car's charging, it's gonna fill up most of the charge it needs entirely here while I'm sleeping, and I'll be good to go. Most of the time I never need to go anywhere to charge, because even this slow charger can replenish all my daily driving. What we saw where I'm out and I don't have enough charge to make it home or make it where I'm going and have to stop to charge, that's an extremely rare situation. It almost never happens because you're always just slow charging at home, and the car has such a huge amount of battery on board that you never do even close to that amount of driving in a day. But even in the super rare situations where your battery's too low to make it where you need to make it, all it takes is a charging stop that's 5 to 10 minutes at the latest V3 chargers, and you're good to go. And Tesla even has faster chargers than this with 350 kilowatts with the V4, and we haven't even seen that yet. So the state of EV charging is pretty advanced. If you have a fast station near you, and here in the Bay Area we have a ton of fast charging stations all over the place, then the experience is already getting close to what it would be for a gas car driver. Just a 5 to 10 minute stop, and then you can make it home and finish charging there. And V4 is going to take that even to the next level. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video to show what it's really like. I had no problem going and driving to San Jose, even knowing that I'd arrived there with just 5% battery, because I knew that all it would take is a 5 to 10 minute charging stop and I'd be able to make it back home. So don't be afraid. Get an electric vehicle. Well, as long as it's a Tesla, and you'll find it's actually a lot more convenient. People imagine you're actually wasting tons of time charging. The reality is you actually spend less time charging because you can do more of it at home. And in the rare occasions where you do need to charge, it's actually a pretty short trip. So there you go. Hopefully this is helpful to some people. If you're thinking about an EV, go for it. People who try it, once they get used to it, they'll never go back to gas car. That's what they say over and over again. They'll never go back to gas cars. All right, take care, everyone.